Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the REMINGTOM podcast. We are live, and make no mistake, we did not turn the heat on in time in the studio. It's too cold in here. It's just what it is, but it's a good thing we got strapped up. We do have the slippers on, so at least we're good to go there. Get comfortable, people. We do have a fun little slate of games that we are, getting kicked off here, ready to go. Knicks Magic is the primetime NBA game to start the day. Another day of NBA Cup action as well, too. And there's supposedly some, knockout stage. We're not even in the knockout stage yet, but today is like a knockout day for the knockout stage. Who knows? The in-tournament season's already confusing, and they're now trying to confuse it even more by making up storylines. But regardless, the Magic and the Knicks are just playing a normal regular season game on an orange basketball court, which is crazy, chat. An orange basketball court with the orange basketball? Should this have been the first game to debut those, airless basketballs? Those are black. But we do also have Sixers Hornets. The first quarter of that just ended. Paul George versus Brandon Miller. The GOAT and his Jedi sidekick guy that they train up and they make wear the braids. Is it the braids? But Brandon Miller, his GOAT, Paul George, they battle head-to-head, pause, tonight. And the Sixers up by 12 as the first quarter ends. No LaMelo for the Hornets tonight. Was he benched? No, he is out. Micic in his place. So, if anything, that's good for LaMelo that Micic might not necessarily be a big upgrade. Because Micic is one of those guys, I feel like, there might be Xavier. And, obviously, we're not hating on Micic. Shout out Micic. I think he's a solid pro. I think he's had some good moments for sure. But, he's one of those, again, solid pro type of guys where if you have erratic is not the right term, but if you have kind of a star player with some big up and downs, a star player who maybe, especially your point guard, if your point guard is not necessarily doing some point guard things that you needed to do, and it's kind of there's some scoring, some ball hogs, and some decision stuff, some defensive commitment stuff. Like, you start putting it all together. Like, is Meach just going to commit? Is he going to move the ball? Like, he's going to, be a solid playmaker for the rest of the guys. You have all this young talent that you really like. But regardless, LaMelo Ball, still an upgrade over Micic. We'll take it. But the Spurs playing a little bit. They play the Suns in, a little bit still. And I guess same time the Spurs play, Michigan also plays Wisconsin. So I don't know if we'll be locked in or tuned out, with both of our teams playing at the same time. We'll see what ends up happening. Michigan basketball playing Wisconsin basketball. In Wisconsin is 8-0 right now, number 11 in the country, but Michigan is 6-1, and I believe our one loss is a 2-point loss. And I want to say it was to Wake Forest. Let me double check here. But the point differential for us has been really good this year compared to maybe some years past where you could get past some of the lower teams, but it might have been a little sketchier. They're definitely taking care of business right now. Dusty May, it seems like he might have actually been the right move. But, was that game 2 of the season? Yeah, lost 72-70 to Wake Forest. But since then, 76-64 over TCU. 94-67 over Miami, Ohio. Tarleton State, 72-49. Sorry, Tarleton State. They had to do it to you. But Virginia Tech beat them by double digits. Beat Xavier by over 20 as well. So I know, a couple of Tarleton State and who else was this other one? Oh, yeah, Miami, Ohio. Miami, Ohio, respectable. Big Ben. They've had some guys. But, they've had some other decent wins in there. So we're looking forward to tuning in on checking out our team. Because make no mistake, we're feeling good right now. Obviously, Michigan just upset Ohio State. over the weekend. So we'll see if that momentum ends up carrying over into basketball at all. And if we were doing a Spotify Wrapped for our favorite teams, make no mistake, and it's no disrespect to the Michigan basketball team, it's just where we're at in the season right now with all of these teams, they would be our lowest minutes played. And again, that's not fair to them, minutes played, because they've only played 7 games out of a 30-plus game season plus a tournament or 2 at the end there. But even if we're going like time per game watch, I mean, make no mistake, chat, we're still tuning into the highlights. But we'll try to set a new season high for the amount of game time we're able to watch our team. But there is also going to be a data cast for Nuggets Warriors later, an NBA 2K alternate cast. I don't know what it is, chat, but it's Jalen Rose. And I forget who else was on there. But make no mistake, it was Jalen Rose. So we'll at least click on that. And I don't know how many seconds it has to be on to be considered a watch, but we'll at least see what it physically looks like and whether or not it's worth continuing to watch, because it could again just be like a next gen stats type broadcast with like with what Thursday Night Football does on Amazon Prime. But it's like a 2K, they keep saying 2K25. So are they going to have like player badges? Is there going to be like an icon underneath the player that has the ball that's dribbling? Like, I don't know how that's going to fold into the mix as well. Are they going to show their 2K ratings fluctuating as the game plays? Can Jokic if he's not already a 99 overall, can he get to a 99 overall tonight versus the Warriors? Is Jokic playing? Jokic, he's not obviously, I was going to name drop some guys, but I feel like certain guys have been compared to Jokic enough. We can stop it. But like certain guys in the league, Jokic is obviously reliable game to game. But this year, it feels like with the way the Nuggets kind of might be up and down, he might be more likely to just take a night off and be like, we saw it already. And hopefully, personal reasons, he's a quiet, on the low type guy, so hopefully it was nothing too bad. And even if it was like a horse, that something happened to one of the horses, I guess that'd be sad, but well, we don't want to start drafting headlines on people in Jokic's life, but it wouldn't be shocking if Jokic sat out a game or 2 more than he did last year. But Orlando right away off to a hot start, 4 for 7 from 3. They've doubled them up, the Knicks so far, 6-14. Brunson with the floater makes it 8-14. And we'll see if Bridges shows up tonight as well. Remember, we saw in that box score the other night, he had the big game. So I don't remember exactly how many live streams ago that was, Chad. It was 1 or 2. I don't know if they played a game or 2. Is this the first game since the actual Mikal Bridges emergence game in New York? Brunson in the mid-range. He's deadly, chat. He can't be stopped. Right over the top of the Wendell Carter. Brunson, of course, is going to be the thing that keeps him in here. But that's why you brought in Bridges. So Brunson wouldn't have to do the thing. And that's just going to be what ends up happening, right, chat? At the end of the season, they're going to be in the exact same spot. Unless Bridges just turns it around. But it becomes one of those things where you get to a certain point in the season and you're like, oh, we're a little farther along than you realize. And it's just kind of the season might be what it is. Now, all-star break and all that stuff is going to be a big deal. And now, again, with this in-season tournament, like there's more breaks for the other teams as well that aren't playing in the in-season tournament. There's a couple of days off in there. So if there's more chances for a guy to reset, maybe Bridges, the Knicks will continue to figure the continuity thing out, but I don't know, chat. They are within 1, and they are forcing the Magic to take a timeout. But the Hornets, I don't know if they're going to keep us on this one for a lot tonight without LaMelo Ball. Of course, Brandon Miller, we love watching, but we'll see how competitive they're able to keep it. It is a 9-point game right now. And we've got, is that Nick Richards at the line? I saw Mark Williams playing, and I feel like he's been in and out with injury. Let's get a Mark Williams update, chat. I know you guys were waiting, so we said IT decided we'll just go ahead and do it on the do it early. Pause. The Mark Williams 2024 season update. I feel like are him and LaMelo, because he feels like such a good center to be playing next to LaMelo with this shot blocking. Okay, 19 games this year, so he's been in for the most part. 65% from the field, 12 points a game. He's up a little bit. It's going up, chat. Oh, is this from last year? Wait, did I just click on the wrong year? Oh, wait, has he not played? Was that 19 games last year? Am I crazy? Yeah, so he hasn't played it all this year. Maybe I didn't see Mark Williams out there. Let's double check the box score, see if Mark Williams was in. He is 5 minutes. So is this the first Mark Williams game of the season? It's a good thing we scheduled the Mark Williams update for right now. Wow, what are the odds, chat? What are the odds? Shout out to Mark Williams getting back healthy because, again, only 19 games played last year. And that was like the first 20. Like, he basically missed all the last year with whatever injury. I can't remember what he was down with. It says on Basketball Reference he's day-to-day going into today. So as of yesterday, he was day-to-day with a foot injury. Questionable for today's game, obviously. That question will turn into a yes. And he's back out there. So was it a foot, chat? Charlotte fans in the chat. Was it a foot that he was dealing with last year as well, too? But, yeah, I guess so. Last year, 65% from the field. 12 points. But, I mean, 12 and 9? 12 and 10, basically. 9.7 rebounds. And that's in 26 minutes. So what was he per 36 here? 17 and 13. A block and a half a game. I feel like Mark Williams definitely has a little bit more defensive upside than that. Obviously with his mobility as well, too, and athleticism. But still, you see the field goal percentage go up a little bit. Same with the free throw percentage. I mean, he's at 4.5 attempts a game per 36 last year. So that's pretty good for, I feel like, a rim running type big. If you're getting to the line that much. Jeez, I don't want to pull up prime Capella stats and start comparing him, chap, but we all know he's the go-to guy for that role because of his role in that Harden-Houston offense. And it's because Capella was good at it. He produced, and obviously that Rockets team was able to achieve a lot. But, or at least, I guess I don't know what they achieved. But they, they at least made a good playoff run. They found success in some ways together. And Milwaukee currently up double digits on Detroit as well. Milwaukee, of course, we know seems like they're finding a groove. And Cleveland over Washington right now, make no mistake, that one's not very close. We wouldn't expect it to be. So I guess Charlotte versus Sixers it is, chat. We're keeping it on. But we may, we may go watch Cade. It's a 10-point game. And make no mistake, chat, the Bucks, like we've talked about, they'll get on they'll get on their knees for these teams, chat. Make no mistake. The leads, chat, you know what they'll do to them. They'll go right out the door. So a 10.1 is not, I mean, they're liable to give up a 20-25er. So 10 points, I mean, that might as well be a tied game. The Knicks now have surged back, taking the lead. And I didn't see what the odds are for this one, chat, but you could imagine the Knicks would have to be favored. If the Knicks weren't favored at home versus a Magic team without Paolo, I mean, what are we doing? De Silva's activity, though. Towns! I know it might be a lot to ask you to box out like 2 or 3 guys, but we need some rebounds. The Towns Brunson pick and roll, chat. I mean, Brunson is just going to be unstoppable tonight. Poor Suggs, chat. Poor KCP. It's not going to matter. I guess, do we have Anthony Black out there right now, chat? Try to throw a little size on him. Pause. And it doesn't matter. Towns running to the rim as well on the dives. So Micic out of control for the Hornets. Oh, losing. Caleb Martin stealing the ball from Micic and then almost throwing it back out of bounds off of him. That would be a tough double L for our boy, chat. I guess is Micic becoming our boy? I didn't realize he was our boy, but I guess he is. Freudian slip. Micic is our boy. Shout out. We're all in. Trade LaMelo. Start Micic. Is Embiid just day-to-day? Is this just a back-to-back? I honestly don't even know with Embiid anymore, chat. And the thing is, the sad thing is, chat, he's just out with a knee right now for this game. But, I mean, the sad thing has been he hasn't been necessarily the type of guy where I feel like I need to check his injury status as well for this year. Now, again, it's been so chaotic, and the quotes, and it's like, you know, who even knows when he's going to play because, you know, if he's injured on the first night of a back-to-back, but he's like, oh, well, I'm never playing on the second night of a back-to-back again. I guess I'm just going to sit out both of these games. Like, well, you didn't even play the first one. But, you know, the rules are the rules. So, you know, the things are just so chaotic right now with Embiid that it's just like, let's let it settle down before we actually start seeing what the headlines say. But regardless, I mean, you look at, you know, 39, 40, basically 38% from the field. And he's not hitting threes. He's 16% from three. He hasn't missed a free throw yet this year, though, chat. He's 32 for 32 from the free throw line. So, I mean, Embiid, he's still got it. It's still there. I mean, that's not nothing. Is it? I mean, that has to, yeah, I think it was that bolded out, chat. That has to be the league lead. Yeah, because I know, again, only 4 games played, but at least 32 for 32 on free throws. I mean, that's still pretty impressive. What's Steph so far this year? Let's see. Steph, probably his normal 94.5% or whatever he's in the mix. Oh, 94.3% this year, chat. Who knew? Who knew? He is 50 for 53. Steph has missed three free throws? There we go, chat. Steph has missed 3 of them so far out of 50. I thought Steph could make like 110 in a row. Steph Curry, overrated? No, of course. Do we have to? We don't want to get, if we put this on Twitter, you know, we don't want to get fact checked. Community noted. We got to say on the other side. We don't want YouTube to think we're spreading misinformation. Steph Curry is the greatest basketball shooter, 3-point shooter of all time. Of course. But man, even at 92%, so I guess last year, 92.3%, he missed 25 free throws. I mean, the numbers are the numbers, Chad. It's just you never think of Steph Curry missing 25 free throws in 75 games. That's once every 3 games he's missing a free throw. I guess that he's taking so many of them, though, as well, too. How many was he at last year? Now, he was at 4 a game last year, chat. So his highest year was 6.3 the 2021 season. 3rd in MVP voting, led the league in scoring, 32 points a game. That year, he was 362 for 395. So Steph Curry missed 33 free throws that year when he was 3rd in MVP voting. Bomb! So, yeah, basically not quite every other game, but not quite every 3rd game. Like every 5th half, chat, he was missing a free throw. Which, again, still, obviously, I mean, it's why he's the greatest shooter of all time. Incredibly impressive. He's the greatest free throw shooting percentage of all time. But, again, you just never... You think Steph Curry's going to miss, like, 2 free throws throughout the season. But, thankfully, that's not how many you have to miss to still get to 90%. When you're shooting 200, 300 free throws per year. But, yeah, Embiid just hasn't obviously been playing at that level where it's like, Oh, is Embiid back? Which, I mean, again, for the Sixers team, though, it's a little bit different. The Sixers team needs Embiid still. They'll take his 19 points a game on 38%. Make no mistake. He's still, I mean, 7.5 rebounds, chat. Yikes. 3.5 assists. I mean, what are the advanced stats saying on him right now? And again, this is only 4 games played, 125 minutes. Definitely not the finest basketball of his career. I mean, it's his lowest offensive rating since his first 2 seasons. But even still, almost 10 years ago, offensive rating. I don't know how they've adjusted that number for the statistics the way they are now. So, I mean, had a 106 offensive rating in 17-18 versus a 107 this year. I feel like comparatively that's a lower number. But, yeah, defensive rating way higher, which is a bad thing compared to years past. PER of 17, chat? I mean, a simple way to put it, his value over replacement through 4 games right now is 0. 0.0. Embiid has been basically, again, it's like you don't need him. He's not a negative, he's not a positive. He's just out there. Is literally what the advanced stats have been saying this year. Which is kind of crazy that it's 0 because, again, both his offensive and defensive box score ratings are negative as well. So, apparently with a negative box score, again, he's still enough for the Sixers that he's not doing him any harm when he's out there, apparently, for the team. He does have his 0.1 win shares for defense, and that's it. I mean, the numbers are just saying, like, again, I mean, and he hasn't contributed versus minutes, just being out on the court. But when he's out there, it just, the numbers are saying he's simply not contributing. So, I don't know. Did we have this scheduled after the Mark Williams update? We're going to call out Joel Embiid, get his act together. But we're just reading the stats, chat. We're just looking at what the numbers say. And they're saying Embiid has been... Embiid's been mid! Let's see what a 17 PER, chat. Like, what's D'Angelo Russell right now? D'Angelo Russell, the ultimate, you need him when he's playing well. You don't need him at all when he's playing bad type player. His PER. I don't know. What's the list of players you need? That is a good list of players to be on, though. The list of players that you want when they're still having a bad game, potentially. Because that's like a defense hustle, still like a playmaking. But I guess bad game could be, they're fouling on defense, they're turning the ball over. It can be more factors than they're not shooting the ball. I mean, make no mistake. Embiid's contributed to a couple of those factors. I mean, yeah, D'Angelo Russell's value over replacement play right now. His VORP through 20 games played is 0 as well, 0.0. So Embiid has been as impactful as D'Angelo Russell, according to the advanced stats. A little bit more, though. Russell's PER is 13.5 this year. But last year it was 16. So 17 for this year for Embiid, 16 for... So, like, D-Lo last year is Embiid this year. And the advanced stats, a couple of the other ones are a little bit better for D-Lo than Embiid. But what about Paul? Paul Reed was on waivers. I don't know how that happened. Maybe me and Sam don't know anything about basketball. That there's a chance that could be, chat. Make no mistake, we're here for a good time. But should they just bring back Paul Reed? Trade Paul Reed for Embiid? I mean, Paul Reed. So Embiid has played 125 minutes this year. Paul Reed has played 104. Paul Reed's value over replacement player in 104 minutes is 0.1. He's barely better than Joel Embiid. Bring Paul Reed back. His box score is, his defensive box score is way higher. He's hustling, chat. Bring back Paul Reed. Can you call, will Detroit do that right now? I don't know what kind of contract you get Paul Reed on off of waivers. That's 10 games played. Was that an Exhibit 10 contract that he was on? Is he still actively on the team? I don't know if he's out there tonight in that Milwaukee game. Should we check? Let's check, chat. Is Paul Reed playing? We'll see if he's up on the box score. Because they'll at least have him listed if he's on the active roster anyways. Okay, yeah, they have him listed on the roster, but he's not getting any minutes. So maybe, again, Paul Reed might just not be the player that we think he is. But, I mean, Isaiah Stewart is good. And they've got Isaiah Stewart on the bench. They've got Duren in the starting lineup. Isaiah Stewart on the bench. And then it's, you know, kind of a collection of wings at that point. So you're kind of only going to run one big at a time. Is that a pause, chat? I think you could definitely stretch it into one. Pause. But it's just going to be hard for him to get minutes with the amount of wings that they have as well, too. I mean, even Fontecchione, the last part of his name is cut off, chat. I think it's Fontecchione. Is it Fontecchione? Fontecchiona? But Fontec, anyways. You know, Thompson, Holland, Beasley. I mean, all those guys. And then you got Wendell Moore and Sasser as well, too. Haven't seen minutes tonight. And then, you know, the wings in your starting lineup, Cade, Harris, Ivy, and, well, Hardaway Jr. Maybe you need to run too big to get Hardaway Jr. out of there. Shout out, no, our former Michigan guy. We'll support him. Keep paying him. Man's got to get his money. But just to defend our, sorry, Tim Hardaway Jr. We're just passionate about Paul Reed. Pause. But we didn't mean to sacrifice your career along the way. But yeah, not I think a lot of minutes for another big with the rotations that they run. But you know, against Milwaukee, a little bit of a bigger team. I mean, what would Paul Reed do against Giannis? Giannis has 17 points right now. He's 6 for 9. 69. I mean, he's doing that on purpose, chat. Giannis is going to look at the box score and go, okay, I'm good for now. We're up by 14. Lillard can hit a couple of shots. We'll be good to go. Lillard's 0 for 2 from 3, 1 for 3 from the field goal. So, I mean, he's not feeling it tonight. And maybe that's a good thing that he's not shooting. He's plus 15, plus minus. I think we might be the #1 plus minus pod that's out there, chat. Make no mistake, I think it's a decent stat. I don't think that tracking the point differential of your team when you're out there is necessarily I don't think that's a bad way to judge, you know. Obviously, there's not really, I mean, if there is one stat that you probably have to point to for how good a player is, I mean, the simplest one, the safest one is probably points per game, if we're just being honest. Like, it is what it is. You just, you know, take the guys that score and they'll try to, you know, hopefully you can't really measure ego in points per game. But that's like the next most important thing. It's like, can you score and can you pass when you need to? And, you know, if you have those two things, you'll be fine. But anyways, plus minus I think is not bad. Oh, sorry. Brooke Lopez I was reading Brooke Lopez's stat line. Brooke Lopez is plus 19. Brooke Lopez balling out tonight. Who knew? Shout out. I just assumed plus 19 wouldn't be Brooke Lopez at this point in his career, but he still managed to have a good night tonight. 2 for 4, like we were saying. Now he's 1 for 3, so I guess he just made a shot. He's tuned in. He heard us talking bad, and now he's making threes. But Lillard is... Chat, I am reading the stats. Did the Bleacher Report app glitch? Or did I just read these stats all totally wrong? I think I just butchered the Bucks box score. Let me try this again, chat. Lillard is having a good game tonight. He's 6 for 9 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3. Giannis is still having a good game, but they just don't need him to do much. Pause. He's 3 for 3. 9 points. He has 3 rebounds, 4 rebounds, 6 assists as well. I think that one just live updated on us. Taurean Prince with 10 points. He's hitting threes. Jackson's 2 for 3 from 3. I mean, if Jackson can become a rotation guy that can hit a couple threes for you, then I'm not saying, like, whoa, the Bucks are... I mean, that's the missing piece. But, yeah, you know, it'd be nice. Another rotational wing that could give you some floor spacing in some defensive minutes. Some more lineup rotation. And you know what else would be nice? Some young guys going forward. Anything. Hope, chat. You just need a little bit of hope sometimes. Maybe it's just Andre Jackson is just that. Oh, geez, our earbuds are tangled up, chat. We'll get it fixed. Okay, we're locked back in. I mean, Gary Trent as well, too, lighting him up. I mean, the Bucks are up by 20 going into halftime. They have a 75-57 lead over the Pistons. Gary Trent has 11. Portis has 8. I mean, Giannis this honestly might be the best Giannis game of the season. Giannis had that 50-point performance the other night, a couple weeks ago or whatever, a month ago at this point. I don't even, the NBA season, the NBA Cup. It's too much to keep track of, but he had that 50-point game, and that was peak Giannis. Giannis was unstoppable. Giannis was destroying. It was in overtime. You can't let Giannis go to overtime, and he's going to get the win. But this tonight, chat, 3 for 3, and everybody playing. There's 71% from the three-point line, 68% from the field. Now, granted, it is the Detroit Pistons, chat. It is the Detroit Pistons, but the Pistons have 9 wins and the Bucks have 10. So, I mean, who's better than who? Bucks, I guess, barely better, a lot better. They're killing them tonight. But DeLon Wright, 7 minutes, hasn't even taken a shot. Plus 16. I mean, Doc Rivers. I don't know. Is this team just in the holiday spirit? What is going on? But going into halftime, they're going to try to, well, maybe the Pistons can cut it to 15. I guess, again, you can never be safe with the Milwaukee Bucks. But can we get a recent team update on the Bucks? We're upping our live stat search capabilities here, chat. We'll see if we can filter out some of the team numbers here. The player numbers are easy enough to look up from time to time. Those are just usually a quick Google away. Even the advanced stats, the databases and stuff. I mean, shout out, Basketball Reference. It's all out there. We know what's going on. But for the teams anyways, should we go just like last 10 games? Start with some simple numbers. The Orlando Magic, 9-1, best record in the league in the last 10 games. But Milwaukee is 8-2 in that stretch. The Celtics, Mavs, Rockets, and the Bucks are all 8-2 in the last 10 games. But Milwaukee is also up there in field goal percentage as well, too. Top 6 in field goal percentage. It's Nuggets, Knicks. Again, this is the last 10 games. Nuggets, Knicks going into tonight. Nuggets, Knicks, Mavs, Cavs, Bulls, and Bucks. The Bucks are at 48% from the field in the last 10. 41% from 3. They're the best three-point shooting team in the league in the last 10 games. So make no mistake. The offense is clicking right now, chat. The offense is clicking. They're the only team in the last 10 games with 8 wins and 48-40 splits. Is that true, chat? Did we just live figure that out? The Celtics are 8-2 in that stretch. 47% from the field. 39% from 3. 38.9% from 3. So they're kind of offensively putting up similar numbers. And again, Pistons in this stretch. Let's see what their schedule has been in this last couple of games. Just to peel behind the curtain and see what's really going on, chat. Are the Bucks playing better? Or are they playing worse opponents? Is this the run through the bottom half of the league? Pause. 13th in net rating on the total year. But this is going backwards their last 10. So their last game was against Wizards, Heat, Hornets, Pacers, Bulls, Rockets. The loss to the Hornets, the overtime win to the Pistons, and then they beat the Raptors, lost to the Celtics as well. Lost to the Knicks, lost to the Cavs, lost to the Grizzlies, lost to the Nets, lost to the Bulls. It might be a little whiff of schedule, chat. Just a whiff. They do play the Atlanta Hawks on Wednesday. So we know the Atlanta Hawks can play up to the opponents. Maybe they'll give them a run for their money. But then they go Boston, Brooklyn, Cleveland again. And again, Brooklyn already beat them pause as well. Earlier in the season. So that Boston, Cleveland run there will be, again, a couple of more test matchups for them to see if this is actually legit or not. But make no mistake, by the time they get to those games, it will just kind of be a time for Lillard to have cooled off in general and for the Bucks offense to have cooled off. How long can they actually keep this trend going for? Now, the thing is, the playoffs, it's serious. You can have a bad game or whatever and bounce back and continue to have good offensive runs throughout the course. And, you don't have to have a good offensive game every game and make a title run. But still, I mean, how sustainable is this Bucks thing game to game? The 1-point win, over the Rockets. Not bad. Not bad. And then, good wins over the Bulls, Pacers as well. So they've been taking care of business a little bit. But let's see if we can go a quick net rating for the last 10 here. I'm sure they'll probably be similar to with that record, probably 5 or 6. But in case there is some big jump. They're down to 8th in net rating. So net rating for the last 10. Rockets, Mavs, Celtics, Magic, Knicks is top 5. And then Thunder, Grizzlies, Bucks is 6, 7, and 8. The Rockets with an 11.1 net rating. The defense has been on fire these last 10 games. Yeah, best defense in the league. Same with the Magic as well. Clippers defense, very strong over this last stretch. The Magic could use a little defense here, though, in this game. Down 13 now. The game has quickly gotten out of hand. The evening slate of games has gotten out of hand as well. We just need this slate to stay interesting for a couple more minutes, and then we get Wembanyama. Dusty May. I got to be honest, Chad. Again, we pride ourselves in honesty. I'm a little more excited to check out Michigan than I am Wembanyama now. I'm not more, Wembanyama. I don't think. I don't think we need to start, proclaim every time we, want to change the rankings of our favorite kids, but I don't think it's in fairness to Wemby, it's not like we're more excited to watch the whole Michigan game. We're excited to watch Michigan for a good chunk. And then hopefully that Spurs game is close then. We'll be able to, finish that one up as well too. Pause. But Dusty May, like we said, he's got the group turned around. We've got a real test. And I think definitely the first ranked opponent. But, not starting off easy in the ranked category anyways, with a top 15 or a top 12, a top 11 team, number 11. I don't know how far up the list we want to go. But Towns at the free throw line is going to push this to 15, chat. A 15-point lead. So, again, I don't think this is a feel bad if you're the Magic game. You're going to take every run and every win that you can get without Paolo. Going 9-1 without him is incredible. Being where you're at without him is absolutely awesome. You'll take it. I mean, we are in December now. So, we're probably we could still be 6 weeks from Paolo actually playing, but, if we're a third of the way there, 40% of the way, 45% of the way there, they've weathered a good chunk of the storm without him very, very successfully and allow them to have games against teams that are definitely better than them. Or, when Paolo's out there, teams that definitely should be better than them on a given night. The Knicks fully healthy tonight, outside of the, all the Knicks fans want Mitchell Robinson and Precious Achiuwa back so bad, and I get it. For this team, they're important, but still, be honest, Knicks fans, they're not going to help you win the title. I could take that back. I could definitely regret saying that at some point. But, we know when it comes down to it, it's going to be the stars. But you do need the depth guys. But still, the final 5 rotations, probably going to be Towns at the center, ideally. With Anunoby, with Bridges, Josh Hart, Brunson. Unfortunately, there's no DiVincenzo anymore to battle Josh Hart for that last spot. But that would, I think, ideally be your group. So that's the thing. If you're getting a Final 5 guy back, and even if you're getting a top 7 guy back, again, that is an important piece. But if you're getting a top 5 back, then you can really make the, oh, well, we're not like a full-on complete team yet. But, you know, if you lose your 7th, 8th best player, hey, and I get the matchup. I get it, Chad. I get it. But it shouldn't be a title type injury. It should suck, but it shouldn't be that costly. Brunson putting up a 27 and was that on the week? Player of the week was Brunson in the East. Svengoon in the West this week. Shout out to Svengoon. Svengoon has locked down quite a few player of the week under his career. Because make no mistake, we forgot to shout this out last week when it happened. Let me double check if it was actually last week or 2 weeks ago. But Harrison Barnes won player of the week. Shout out Spurs forward Harrison Barnes. Won player of the week in the Western Conference. The Spurs were 3-0 that week, and Harrison Barnes was like 23 a game. But make no mistake, that's the first time he's ever won that award. So I was trying to go back and look to see like who the most random player of the week were. I didn't go through a lot of years, Chad. I had to go to work at some point. I guess we just never ended up going back to that research. But there was a couple of names that you're like, oh yeah, that's definitely a one-off type situation. Yeah, so he won the award November 25th. So that would have been, so I guess, so I guess Svengoon won it for this past week. The week that I guess actually playing on the 25th would have been on. But, yeah, so the week of the 18th would have been his actual week. I don't know. Regardless, chat, Harrison Barnes a couple weeks ago was Offensive Player of the Week. The most random one I could find, and maybe it was not random, but Sadiq Bey was a Player of the Week. And I guess you're going to say, yeah, that absolutely is random. But I was also trying to look at it as like, who would you not be surprised that they actually won Player of the Week? Because you could go through, you could filter it a lot of ways. You can go like non-all-star type guys, you know, who hasn't been all-NBA or whatever. Like, Svengoon hasn't actually been an all-star, but if Svengoon was Player of the Week, you know, you have Svengoon had like a 3-game stretch where he was the best player in the Western Conference, or, you know, and again, it's not even like best player in the Western Conference. It's, you know, who was like, had a really hot 3 games, whose team played well that week. There's a couple other it's you know, a little MVP of the weekish. We get how it works, but you can't go, you know, how many points per game would you have to put up if your team was 0-3 for the week for you to have to win Player of the Week? Has Cam Thomas won it, scoring like 40 a week, and his team went 0-3? Like, I don't know if that's happened, but yeah, he won it February 15th, 2021. He was Player of the Week. Let's see if we can find that year, chat, and see what he put up. February 21, so that would have been the 2020-2021 season, if I'm not mistaken. Oh yeah, and this season would have started or later too as well. This was the Christmas time start, post-COVID season. But did he even have that crazy of a week? Yeah, I'm just looking at the box scores here. Again, I'm not exactly sure which week it was. He got the award on the 15th, so I think it would have been the prior week. But he had like 1 30-point game in here against Boston. So I guess they beat the Celtics, and they were like, that's enough, Sadiq. So I guess all you have to do is really have one good game. And you're good enough. Because they lost. Did they win 2 games that week? And he had like a 30-pointer and then 16 in the next week. So, no, he played well that week. But that was one where it was like, oh, shout out Sadiq Bey. And there was also a J.J. Barea. I guess I made it back far enough to get to a J.J. Barea Player of the Week. Let me see what year this was. And I think that you might be like, that's less shocking than Sadiq Bey. But, I mean, let's be real, chat. Just because J.J. Barea played some, you know, so we get it. LeBron was not feeling it that moment. Are we going to turn into academics for LeBron here? He wasn't feeling it in the moment. He passed it out, whatever. Yeah, April 4th, 2016, J.J. Barea won Player of the Year, Player of the Week. I guess that maybe is more surprising that it was in 2016 when J.J. Barea was like a assistant coach. at that point. But I guess he was he 12th and 6th man of the year voting that year? 11 points a game, so he was kind of balling out. JJ Barea. He had a run there at the end of his career, yeah, where he was playing a lot on that on that Magic team or that Mavs team. It was like, oh. But those were the two most random ones besides Harrison Barnes for Player of the Week. But Sengun now, let's see how many he's up to. Is Sengun the most Player of the Weeks without an All-Star appearance? Do we need to start getting that stat? IT, get on it! But he's got to have several handfuls. He's got a nice scoop. Is that a pause? A nice scoop of Player of the Weeks. Will this... Maybe this only gives us the most recent one? So this is just saying, maybe I'm stupid, chat. Again, we've proven before that we're just not we're not good at research. It's what it is. But this has only given us one Player of the Week for Sengun. But I feel like I saw his name. Like, I'm not crazy. Let's look up LeBron, chat. We're just going to go easy. Let's see if it tells us if LeBron is like a 40-plus time Player of the Week. You know, LeBron is like 125 NBA Player of the Week wins. It'll be interesting to see when his most recent one was, though. Has he gotten less Player of the Week respect than MVP respect? Where it's been, like, several years? Oh, okay, so I guess chat. We're bad at research. Breaking news. Do we need... We need to run, like, a fake news graphic every time we mess up some sort of research bit. Fake news, chat. I guess that was Sengun's first Player of the Week. Because it does have LeBron listed here as a 68-time Player of the Week winner. Which, the last time he won was March of 2024? So March of last year, shout out. Slipped in a couple in January as well, too, 2023. Yeah, I think LeBron was cooking in January that year. That sounds familiar. 2016, 2015. I mean, it's just like, you know, what week did the other guy have, like, did some other guy hit, like, a buzzer beat? I guess, like, the Sadiq Bey thing. It's like somebody had a good week against a good team or a good game. And they're like, well, I guess we just won't give it to LeBron this week. But I guess Sengun also gets his first Player of the Week. I feel like that's wrong, though. Obviously, we're not going to sit here and go through all of the previous weeks in the NBA seasons and NBA history, the Player of the Week awards. But we may as well, chat. It's turning into a little bit of a blowout. Bridges pump faking for three. I guess they don't need him tonight. I mean, completely killing the transition drive with the ISO on top. Doing absolutely nothing. Luckily, Josh Hart's able to barrel down and get to the rim. And he has a chance to make it a 19-point game. Let's see what Bridges is doing here. On the night. Lillard up to 18. Cooking Dame time, chat. Is Dame Lillard want one of those Player of the Week trophies? Bridges 4 for 5 from the field, 0 for 1 from 3 though. 9 points. Taking a free throw. So he's getting in there a little bit, but I mean the threes, Bridges. We need the threes. The second half needs to be a Bridges. Let's run plays for Bridges and just see what that looks like kind of half. Is it too much to ask for experiments in the East Group A potential knockout stage for the knockout round game in the NBA Cup sponsored by Emeritus? Is it too much to ask Tom Thibodeau to try to experiment with his lineups in this type of situation? And just go, hey, and not even experiment with his lineups. Just like, let's run some stuff and get Bridges some threes, some confidence. Let's get the team used to seeing what this might look like if we need to go in this direction. Let's see if this is a direction that the team can go in, you know? Because if you keep trying to go to Bridges and it's just not working, then it's, well, you know, maybe that's just not something we can go to. But 38 minutes per game, Bridges is first in the league. So I guess if there's one thing that Bridges is good for, well, not one thing, I guess. Again, sorry, Bridges, not to overdo it, but we're doing a live stream. We're just going to say some things. But The one thing he's good for is the minutes he can play at the load. Pause. Is that crazy, chat, to say that the one thing Bridges is good for is the load he can take? Yikes. Yikes. That's embarrassing. But it is what it is. Thibodeau likes playing his guys a lot of minutes, and Bridges likes playing a lot of minutes. It's perfect. It's a match made in heaven. Josh Hart, he loves being out there. Towns, just again, De Silva taking the rebound from him. Towns trying to rebound with one hand. I mean, has he never watched Bill Russell? How much Bill Russell do you think that Towns has watched? You know, what is this a word of advice to some young draft prospects out there? And I get that as the game evolves, you know, the newer players might be a little more like they, you know, even some lesser newer players might be like, you know, again, no disrespect to Paul George, but like Paul George is not, I think, like even Dennis Johnson. Like Dennis Johnson won a finals MVP. Like you don't hear a wing go, you know, oh, I really want to be like an all-around player like Dennis Johnson. You know, it's like, hey, I want to be like, I want to get buckets like Adrian Dantley. Like you never hear that. Somebody just pulls out like a George Mikan, a Bob Pettit. But if some young draft prospects started doing that and started like using his inspirations, and honestly, like this is, maybe you don't even have to actually take inspiration or watch these guys. But if you're a young draft prospect tapped into the live stream tonight, because I'm pretty sure that IT said our numbers are good with the draft prospects. They don't mind it. But start saying that your game reminds you of just like insanely old players. Everybody talks about the same guys. Everybody says, and it's even guys that are playing now. Like guys, oh, I love Steph Curry. I love LeBron. I love Kobe. I love Devin Booker. It's like, yeah, we all love Devin Booker, but we're watching Devin Booker play right now. Say Mark Aguirre. Just say it. You don't even have to mean it. But guess what will happen to your draft stock? It will go way through the roof. Now, you know, you don't want to throw out a bad comp. You don't want to say like, you know, you're like some wing and you start saying like Bill, and maybe you want to be funny. You know, you start saying like Bill Laimbeer. You know, now you're a comedian as well. Like we've got he's got a 3-point shot and jokes. I mean, how could we not take this guy in the top 5? I mean, that's how Keon Coleman got drafted by the Bills, making a couple Tiger Woods jokes. But Towns trying to make some fancy passes, pushing the lead to 21. 3 minutes left in the second quarter. But just start saying that it reminds you of these off-the-wall type guys. Because I do think that also the teams would respect a history of the game element for that type of stuff. And as I sit here talking about chat, like, you know, it makes like, what kind of players would I compare my own, you know, pickup basketball in the park chat? Like, what historical players would I try to comp myself to? Because I always try, like, even try to find myself comping to, like, you know, you try to find, like, some low-key NBA talent or something. Like, you know, if you want to get trendy, you're like, oh, am I like Devontae Graham? You know, is this guy like a Trey Burke in the park or whatever? Is this guy a Nick Stauskas? But I guess all of our low-key talent is just that 2013 Michigan team. But, you know, you try to be reasonable with your NBA comps, but which comp would we take from back in the day? And, you know, you don't want to just be like Wilt or Russell or Bob Cousy. You know, if you're a young guard, you don't be like, well, of course I modeled my game after Bob Cousy. Like, everybody knows about Bob Cousy. You know, they literally named those things that you put in your beer into after him. He was such a great point guard. The Bob Cousy's. But even like Oscar. But if you hit somebody with like a Walt Frazier, and that's a New York guy too, so that might be one. And still on the broadcast. But that would be good. Still on the broadcast. You'd probably get a Walt Frazier endorsement during a Knicks game. The Knicks would probably be looking to draft you. So I feel like it would be a really good investment. If Cooper Flagg just started saying like, yeah, I love watching like Dave DeBusschere or, you know, Havlicek or whatever. Just these old white guys. Gail Good. He's like, I just want to get to the rim like Gail Goodrich. And I guess Cooper Flagg's more of a forward. Gail Goodrich is more of a guard. But still, we would need to work on our 50s to modern day comps. But it would be good. It would be a good look. I would fully endorse it. I mean, if Wembanyama started saying he was like, you know, I was watching tape of George Mike. If he just slipped that in, like I was watching some George Mike and hook shots the other day, and I just started thinking about some things we could do with. And people would be like, "Whoa, what is Wemby? Like Wemby's going crazy. He's watching George Mikan. Like he'll do anything. The man will be the greatest of all time." I swear, if Ace Bailey starts saying that he likes watching Bernard King, he may go over. That might be the thing. Ace Bailey, if you're listening to this and you want to go number 1 in the NBA draft, start doing that. Just start referencing old players as your draft comps. Like, have a whole lineage of guys. It's like when you're talking to, like, a young rapper and you're like, well, who are your influences? And obviously, you know, you got to respect anybody's influences. If ultimately the product is great music, it is great music. But, you know, you start listening to a guy and it's like, well, I really, you know, I big rap history. I love like Yeet and all these other guys. And you're like, wait a second, what's going on here? Shout out to Yeet too, of course. He's only on the brain because, you know, he's in the rotation. Shout out to Sam. But, you know, when you hear a guy and he's like, oh, you know, Biggie, Tupac, Ice, you know, the farther back you go, it's like Ice Cube, Eric B. It's like, this guy's a legend. But if you started doing that with NBA players and started being like, yeah, the 70s, the 80s, the 50s, Dominique, like, has anybody ever said that, you know, I would just like love watching Dominique? And it's a shame as well too, because it's not like those guys aren't worth watching. There just needs to be a way. If only there was a channel where you could just watch all old NBA games, which there is, and it's just buried on Roku TV right now. I remember that used to be like I mean, yeah, ESPN, I guess, is ESPN Hardwood's, like, is that Classic still a channel? I don't even know, chat. Should we look that up? Let me even see. Because we don't get it with the streaming cable / whatever package that we are subscribed to. But I would not be surprised if that channel was defunct as well. Word of the day, chat? Defunct? Or is it just, do we need to fork over some more money to get... So I guess it's a TV series, yeah. So what was Hardwood Classic just on like ESPNU? I think that might have been it. It was just buried on one of those ESPN channels, which of course they run the Hardwood Classics on NBA TV, but I don't feel like they run them enough. And I feel like they run a lot of the same games as well too. We're getting sick of watching the same Magic hook shot game at the end. It's an iconic game, chat, but you know, make no mistake. Like we said, we're fans of NBA history. We're down to watch it all. I mean, let's be honest. The casual viewer is not flipping through channels going, oh, the Magic Skyhook game? I might actually tune into this one. Like, it's for the hardcore fans. The hardcore fans that just want to throw on an old basketball game because it's on and just reminisce about old times, or, you know, again, younger people like myself that are like, oh, I don't know anything about this. Let me check this out. So maybe to gravitate toward that audience, you're going to put on the bigger stars like Magic and Bird and MJ and all that stuff. We get in, again, old timers. We all want to see those guys. Like, that's the best that the NBA has ever produced. That's the stuff that we want to see live on as well. But the NBA has produced a lot of best as well. So we just, like, are the Tim Duncan Hardwood Classics going to age on is what we want to know. Are these Spurs games going to remain in the zeitgeist of the NBA, and are they going to stick around in a replay value type of way? Like, I don't know what the hip-hop comparison for the Spurs team would be of the guy that's just, like, super critically acclaimed in the moment, but not like a fraud as well, too. It's not like the critically acclaimed, but it's not getting the commercial success. I guess, you know, if you were doing the comparison, you could argue that the Spurs didn't have the commercial success because they were labeled, you know, a low-key boring team. But I don't feel like that was the case. I don't think the Spurs were ever actually a boring team. I guess it was more the star personalities that were labeled boring, not the basketball necessarily on the court. But still, I don't feel like people were not watching the Spurs. You know, I feel like that team was still a draw, especially by the end. And, you know, they'd been around for so long as well that their star power had kind of risen with the league for them being icons. But, and just, you know, such beloved legends. So I guess early 2000s when the league post MJ, kind of pre-LeBron, you know, what they could have done for the marketing for the league at that standpoint, maybe how Duncan could have played a role as a face of the league superstar there. Like maybe that gets held against him a little bit from a replay value. But still, regardless, Chad, it's like they checked all the boxes in the moment, but is the music actually going to get passed down and live on? And I don't even want to throw out a hip-hop comparison. I don't want to say that like a legend's not playing, but like, you know, like who are the kids playing, Chad? Because like the thing is, like, you know, and it's not a hot take, but like people still play like Tupac and Biggie, Chad. Like that's not like oh wait, people actually still listen to him. Like it's like yeah, of course people still listen to him, but you know, you throw on some of these legends, Chad, and you're like, wait a second, they have like 80,000 people listening to him on Spotify. Like, what is going on? Why have they not been able to translate over into the streaming era? But of course, being two of the greatest of all time. Yeah, I mean, Pac right now is at 25.7 monthly listeners. I'm trying to think of who would be in that range. We were looking at like Don Toliver the other day, and he was in like the 30 plus. I mean, Don Toliver is a big star right now. But like Jid's at 24.3. So is Pac outstreaming Jid? Yeah, Pac's got more monthly listeners than Jid right now. And Jid's one of the bigger stars in hip hop. I mean, Jid is a, you know, Jid's a big deal for sure. But, you know, Pac has obviously still been able to, I mean, Pac and Big are like Magic and Bird for sure. Big is at 21.4 million. And of course, that's just discography, right? Because Tupac has a little bit more. He's going to have a few more monthly listeners. Ice Cube is at 16.7. That one's actually kind of surprising. Well, that's not surprising, but you know, I'm glad to see that Cube is that high. But like, let's see what some of these other, what's Snoop is at? Jesus, Chad. Some of these, like Snoop has hit a couple of features though. Yeah, like this Young and Wild and Free feature is probably carrying his monthly listeners. Snoop is at 32.4 million monthly listeners right there. So he's in that Don Toliver, Tyler the Creator range for streams right now. Busta Rhymes is at 11. Okay, so maybe it's a little off, chat. Maybe it's a little off. Some of these guys are, but we all know the legends, of course. That, and it's not even that. It's like, you know, you just go, oh, you know, is this old guy compared to Lil Uzi Vert? Like, where would you rank him? Like, Nas is at 9 million monthly listeners right now. It's like, oh, Nas is probably the greatest hip hop artist of all time. You know, greatest rapper of all time. You know, Kendrick. But before we get to the Kendrick Super Bowl, and we have to start saying Kendrick is after, you know, the next album or whatever he does next. But as of right now, Nas is holding on to the #1 GOAT legend status with those other guys. So you go, oh, well, it's obviously Nas is like better than Travis Scott. Like, and I don't think Travis Scott. Travis Scott, are you upset to hear that? I mean, if that motivates you to continue to drop good music, then by all means, post it on the whiteboard. But I think is a pretty good consensus right now in the hip hop community. I mean, Nas over Travis Scott, not a hot take, I don't think. But I mean, we know Travis Scott has 10 times as many monthly listeners as Nas does. But Nas, I feel like Nas, maybe that is the comparison, chat. Is Tim Duncan Nas? He might be. I think Tim Duncan might be Nas. Has Russillo made that comp before? If he hasn't, take it, Russillo. They're taking your jokes. You can have this one. We'll trade. But the legend, the fundamentals, checks all the boxes, but you know, doesn't quite pop up on Hardwood Classics enough. Like, what is Nas's even most streamed song? Like, right now is popular on Spotify, the 5 that they have showing up. #1 is, and you know, sometimes it's not always the top 5 most streams. That's why I'm not going to just state this as a fact. But New York State of Mind right now is his number one on there with 317 million streams, which is like a decent stream on like a 26. It's like, a 2016 Drake hit. That's like kind of decent at this point. Like, it's not even going to give us an option for a 300 million stream Drake song. Like, do we think Tried Our Best is that? Nah, that's probably not that high yet, chat. That still has to be like quite a hit. But like Way Too Sexy, like how many streams does Way Too Sexy have compared to New York State of Mind? But I forgot how we got off on the NBA Hardwood Classics rant. What were we talking about, chat? Something with Hardwood Classics. Oh, with the legends and the young players. Yeah. The legends shouting out the young players. But they maybe that's what we were saying. Yeah, the hardcore fans are really the only ones that are tuning in to watch the Hardwood Classic games. Like these casual channel flippers, people searching. It's not even channel flipping anymore as well too. Like you would have to really be digging deep into the streaming hole to stumble across the NBA TV Hardwood Classics and feel like you need to flip that on just at a random time in the day. Even like I feel like basketball game rewatches, where does that rank for casual sports fans just going back and rewatching an event? Because I would just shout out to the champ and Billy Buckets. We were just hanging out with them the other night, and we were just talking about stuff that we've been watching recently. And he was talking about that he's been really crushing UFC fights. And make no mistake, I mean, the champ's always rewatching UFC fights. Next time we see him, it'll be what have you been watching recently? We'll probably be watching UFC fights, just what's in the rotation for him. But the rewatchability of those compared to like an old basketball game for the newer generation might be a little bit higher. Old football game compared to an old basketball game. Obviously, basketball still takes the cake over baseball. A baseball, nobody, make no mistake, nobody is watching an old baseball replay. That might be wrong because old baseball is better than new baseball, but nobody watches baseball now, and I think the game is quicker, right? I don't know, Chad. They're doing things with pitch clocks and they're trying to speed it up, but they're working to make the game faster, and yet people will not tune in now. So I don't think people will be tuning in now to watch baseball that has already happened. But soccer as well. But the replay value, I feel like it might go below fighting. But either way, there needs to be a way to continue to make sure that as we like the 75 lists and the top 100 lists and all that stuff as the anniversaries for the league, and as there's continued ways to commemorate these legends. Do we just need to continue to name more trophies after more legends? Because speaking of players of the weeks, I think Wembanyama just won defensive play. Oh no, he won defensive player of the month. I think that's the first time that award has ever been handed out as well too. Are they doing offensive and defensive player of the month for the first time this year, chat? Somebody could confirm. But Wembanyama got the defensive player of the month for the end of October and then for November. So maybe they just need to name that after a player. Because I think Mikan has a trophy as well, too. Does Pettit have a trophy? So we got some good legends with some trophies. But Hakeem, he got one. Kareem's got one. Russell's got one. Wilt's got one. Does Shaq have one, chat? Would Shaq get the Western Conference Defensive Player of the Month trophy? The Shaquille O'Neal Western Conference Defensive Player of the Month? You can put that in there. The Charles Barkley Offensive Western Player of the Month? Conference Player of the Month? The problem is those guys are kind of well-rounded. I mean, all great legends, of course. Shaq and Chuck definitely well-rounded now as well. As, Chuck being a well-rounded basketball player too. But Chuck just, in general, well-rounded for his whole career. And hard to, award the I guess the offense, the rebounding, all that stuff. But we still need, Charles Barkley. What if some player said, I model my game after Charles Barkley? That person would be a lock top 10 pick. Let's pull up the draft here, chat. Do we have any 6'8 chubby guys, 6'6 chubby guys in the draft for potential power forwards for 2025? Let's see here. Let's see what our trusty old friends over at Tankathon are saying. At this time, are we close to the game? Oh, we are close to the game, chat. We're getting there. Michigan versus Wisconsin. San Antonio versus Phoenix Suns. Underway in about 15 minutes. But for forwards, a lot of wings, of course. Okay, Colin Murphy Boyles out of South Carolina. 6'7", 231. A lot of slim guys in the draft, chat. Players are slim now. Janai Broom in the top 20? Our boy, we love to see it. We'd love to see it. But, like, what if Colin Murphy Boyles from South Carolina said that Charles Barkley, he modeled his game after Charles Barkley. Like Con Knuppel, that white guard out of Duke that we keep baking on. Like Con Knuppel really needs to pull out a couple of great player model his game after comps from the 50s and 40s. I mean, that would really lock in his status for the top 10. Right now, he's number 8 on Tankathon to the Brooklyn Nets, which is, I mean, hilarious that the Nets would end up with Con Knuppel and Cam Thomas, and that team would just be crazy. Ben Simmons. But if Con Knuppel, again, like Gail Goodrich, if Con Knuppel was like Pistol Pete might be a little too basic. But if there was some great 60s white guard that he was able to model himself after. The problem is the Celtics were the only ones winning, chat. They're the only team that actually has a history from back in the day. But, like, should we just look up best white guards from the 50s? Plus, there was, like, a BAA, Basketball Association of America, like, early 40s as well, too. That is, like, technically a couple of the early years for the NBA. So it's really just, you know, how far back do you want to go? But let's go 60, 61. The 60s is still, I mean, 60s feels like we're starting to get into modern times. Feels like that's not too long ago. We've all got family members born in the 60s. Let's see what we've got here. When did they even start doing all NBA? Larry Costello? Gene Shue? What position did Gene Shue play? S-H-U-E? Eugene Shue? Gentleman Gene? Point guard? 6'2", 170? I think Con Knuppel's a little bit bigger than, than Gene Shue. Yeah, 6'7", 216. Is that the GMOs, chat? But Gene Shue, 5-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA. Not in the Hall of Fame? Somebody needs to put Gene Shue in the Hall of Fame. But, like, what about Larry Costello? Is this another Boston guy? Was Larry Costello another Celtic? Feels like Costello feels a little bit Boston-y. Oh, Philly? Oh, okay. Philly guy, chat. 6'1", 186. Was there a lot of 6'7" guards back in the 60s and 50s? I don't know if there was. Especially white ones. But, you know, the playmaking and all that stuff. Like, if Knuppel was saying that Eugene Shue was his guy, I mean, how people would take that grade. Richie Guerin? Ooh, that might be a good one, chat. I think that's Knicks. 6'4", 195? The Leatherneck? Can we say that now? Basketball Reference, is that nickname still good to go in 2024 going into 2025? The Leatherneck? Do we... IT, look up Leatherneck slur and make sure it's okay. But he is in the Hall of Fame with 6 All-Star appearances and 3 All-NBAs. He literally has like 1 more All-Star and 1 more All-NBA than Eugene Shue, and that's enough. He had 1 more really good season. That's all it takes, chat, to separate Richie Guerin from Eugene Shue. God, the 50s were great, chat. Pause. But but Con Knuppel, you need to start modeling your game after Richie Guerin. That's our word of advice. That's what we would do if we were you. The Hornets have not been able to... Oh, geez, chat. We just dropped our second screen. Unfortunately, it's still good to go. The Hornets have been playing so bad. It just knocked it over. They are down by 14. Going into the fourth, it's a little out of reach. The Bucks up by 20 with 1 minute left in the third. Giannis with 28. Giannis just on and out. Giannis is 10 for 10. Giannis hasn't missed. I can already tell it's like 10 dunks, 10 layups. I mean, it's Giannis, but I mean, 10 for 10 is incredible. 28, 7, and 7. Lillard is at 25. He's 8 for 13. Wow. So what, in the third quarter, he went 7 for 7, chat? Because he was, what, 3 for 3 going into the half? Incredible work by our guy, Giannis. Just give him the MVP now. He may be on track to win another MVP. I mean, if they keep winning like this, chat, if they keep winning like this, I feel like, do people just like Giannis more than this everybody else? And that's why when people, you know, people keep saying as well, too, and we've talked about the conversation around the American versus the international superstars. Because like we've said, Chad, I think that there is a great wave of young NBA talent from America. Shout out, USA, USA! But there is a great young wave of talent, homegrown talent, that I think is, you know, coming up through the high school system right now. The top-end talent as well, too. Like, the top-end names, I think, have all a chance to be, like, really, really, like, all-star, maybe level NBA players, you know, to really, really good players. And then, you know, who knows who else is able to emerge out from the rest of the group as well. But I think there's a chance that one of these guys could turn into like a face of the league, marketing star player type guy. Absolutely. Maybe it's already in the league. Maybe it's Edwards, Tatum, like who knows. But also this dynamic that an international guy can't connect with NBA audiences. I just don't think that is totally true. I just don't think that the international personalities and the international basketball talents have necessarily matched up to get that type of player. And I think Giannis is about as close that we've gotten to that. And I don't know, chat. To me, he is about as marketable and about as face of the league-ish type of a guy that you can have. And I get it. Maybe there is a little like, you know, if you start putting him up against the rest of the face of the leagues, like, is Giannis on the MJ and LeBron and Bird and Magic and Russell? Like, obviously he's not there yet, but he's not there. But as a ability to generate the almighty dollar, which at the end of the day is what we're worried about, chat. The league is not worried about, is our face of the league as good as Michael Jordan? Like, they would be worried about that because they need that to generate the same money that they were generating comparatively when Michael Jordan was in the league. But and you know, they're way more prosperous now, of course. And again, comparatively as well, I think, than the era back then. But to me, Giannis has clicked. Again, just about as I don't know what. How is Giannis not clicked compared to any of the other stars? Like, I get Anthony Edwards. Maybe when he's at the like peak, Anthony Edwards is maybe a little bit more like on a hot stretch than Giannis. Like, was peak Anthony Edwards a little bit more beloved than peak beloved Giannis? Maybe, but I don't know if Giannis is incapable of getting to that peak level of belovedness, and I don't know if it was so far off that it's like the league would be in search of that guy. Like, I think Giannis is totally fine as the best player, second best if Jokic is the best player in the league, whatever. Like, it's all great. The problem is, of course, the Bucks were potentially looking like a bad team this year, and if they were a bad team, what that could do for Giannis competitively and all those scenarios, and just like the Bucks being a fun watch. Like, yeah, that stuff would have been bad from a league marketing and national TV and standpoint and all that stuff, but just Giannis, the individual player. I mean, if that happens, well, then what happens? Giannis probably, is there a trade request? Does he end up in it? Like, who knows what all the different scenarios are at? But I don't know why there hasn't been. I don't know. Is the effort? Is it like one of those things is the league like a label? Do you need the league to elevate the player into the star, category, or is it the player because I think the common discourse is like the players got to go out there and grab it and like be the best player in the league and embrace the face of the league. Like Jokic doesn't embrace being the face of the league. And yeah, that is true. Like make no mistake, Jokic just goes away when basketball is not being played. But is the league building Giannis up as the face of the league maybe the way they have with other star players? And I'm sure the league is looking at all the data and looking at all the numbers and making decisions, informed decisions based on all this stuff. But again, just I feel like the kids, like Giannis, like the kids all love Giannis. Who doesn't love Giannis, right? Maybe there is like a little bit of a jersey, like that last sort of Steph Curry, LeBron, like Steph Curry. Yeah, Giannis is not on obviously the peak Steph Curry level, and maybe when you start like, oh, the jerseys we're seeing on the streets, like the Anthony Edwards ones, are they popping up a little bit more than the Giannis ones? Like I get it. Is Giannis 95% of the way there? Yeah, but again, he's 95% of the way there. Like it's right there, and if Giannis is this close to being the face of the league, to me, there's absolutely an international prospect that could emerge to be the face of the league. I mean, Embiid as well, too. Like, if Embiid, and I get, Embiid played for Team USA as well in the Olympics, and maybe, he played in college as well. He played for Kansas. So he kind of came up in the American basketball system, not necessarily the way, Giannis was kind of the gym footage, overseas, entered the NBA from overseas, and the NBA was like the first time we saw him playing basketball on American soil. Like that's a whole different kind of thing. But the fact that these guys, I think, are so close to achieving that last little step of that, that legendary breakthrough status from a star player standpoint, because again, like we're saying, even if we want to talk about American guys that didn't achieve that, like we're talking about Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan, I don't think has that jersey. Like Giannis is a little Tim Duncan-y. Giannis is a little Tim. I don't know. Giannis is not quite Nas because I don't think has the career that Tim Duncan had the Illmatic run in that first year, and then he also had the King's disease runs at the end of his career with Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard was Tim Duncan's hit boy. I mean, it literally makes perfect sense, chat. And Giannis hasn't had. I guess he's not even in his hit boy stage yet. He's still in like the, life is good era of his career. But who would be like the other kind of Nas-y type guy? Killer Mike? Like legendary, technical, all the stuff is there. Killer Mike's got a Grammy. Killer Mike, 3.2 monthly listeners is crazy, chat. Listen to Killer Mike. And listen to Corday. Nobody was listening to the Corday album. We did a review. We told you it was good. All of the other outlets, I think, reviewed it favorably. And that first week number came out, and I think like 750 people listened to the album. It was, what are we doing, people? The Corday album is one of the better projects of the year. Give it a listen. Ghostface Killah? Is Giannis the Ghostface Killah of the NBA? Because I guess you can't say Giannis is Wu-Tang. But is there a Greek rapper that I'm not thinking of? But anyway, sidetracked again with the hip-hop stuff. It keeps... Where were we going with the Giannis point there? But the face of the league type stuff. Yeah, I think they're definitely... Anyways, they're 100% could be an international player that could be the face of the league in that type of way. I think that's crazy. I don't know why that would... It just doesn't make sense why it wouldn't be. Like, the only argument against it is just like, well, it just doesn't like feel like it could happen or whatever. Like, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, if the player is got the undeniable charm and the talent and he's winning games and he's on the national stage and he's like, people are gravitating toward him. It is what it is. Like, it's going to happen. I mean, look at what was happening with Drake all these years. He's from Canada. He's not even one of us. He's not like us, chat. Sam's not here. Sorry. We're going a little crazy. Sam, remind us that Drake's one of the best of all time. But, we can fall in love with these international guys. It's easy, chat. Drake was the face of hip-hop. Ryan Reynolds is the face of movies this year. Deadpool's the highest streaming movies. So maybe Giannis needs to be from Canada is really the main point. The next NBA, that's like the warm-up. We get our star from Canada, and they're like, okay, now we're ready to branch out into the rest of the world. Embrace one of these other people. But do we need to take a break on that note, chat? I think we need to take a quick break before this Michigan Spurs game. And I guess they're not playing each other. Michigan's playing. The Spurs are playing. They're up next. Don't go anywhere. We're just getting warmed up, chat. Things are going off the hook right now. Holy cow. And we're back, Chad. And this is why you love college basketball. They just get right to it. Michigan, Wisconsin, already underway. Wisconsin clanging shots off the side of the backboard early. Who's really number 11? Should they make college sports like the UFC, where if you beat a team in the ranking, you get their ranking? Huh? Is that an idea, Chad? Is that a better idea than our NFL, NBA Black Friday sale, where on Black Friday you could trade for an NBA contract at a discounted price, like a 15% off Dame Lillard contract? I don't know why he seems to be our go-to example. He's playing well right now. Tobias Harris, bring it back into the conversation. But the UFC college poll, do we need to switch it up, chat? I mean, we've already expanded it to a 12-team. In football, we've expanded it to a 12-team playoff. We're trying to open it up as many games as possible, as many chances for these teams to win. Now, the problem, I guess, for that one would be, and I guess both college sports really rely heavily on their, brands like Alabama and football, Duke and basketball, whatever. But if you just get like a random game at the end of the season where Alabama is the second-ranked team in the nation and Auburn is they're unranked or they're like 23rd or something and they beat Alabama. Now, wait a second. Auburn is the second-ranked team in the nation, and they have the number 2 spot. But you do also get the conference champions. So maybe you bend the rule. It's like the conference champions and then the top 12 teams after that, which is kind of the way it already is a little bit. But it's still like the top 12 and then the highest-rated conference championship. So I think it's a little backwards from what I was saying. But if you flip it around and then go conference champions and then fill in the highest, however many, 7 teams, 5 conference. If we're still doing 5 conferences at this point when we switch over to the UFC poll, I would probably be when they switch over to the 2 teams when they make the switch. But I guess at that point it would be easier too, right? The 2 conference champions and then the 10 teams after that, or the 12 teams after that, if you want to go eventually to a 14-team playoff at some point, which inevitably they will do. But again, if Alabama dropped to 23 in that situation or was unranked, but because they're number 2, they still maintain their, because they're number 2, they were having such a great season, they still maintain their spot in the SEC title game. So though they win the SEC, they're back up to 21 in the ranking. The committee moved them back up. But I guess how would the committee do at that point with moving teams around? Who knows how it would work. But we're still working out the kinks, chat. Pause. But they go from unranked to in the college football playoff because they won one of the 2 power conferences, and then you were able to still rank all the teams and get them in after that. But just an idea for the committee out there, or the AP, I guess, in college basketball, because college basketball would be a little different. You could do it in that as well, because I guess the AP poll really doesn't mean anything, right? At the end of the day, it's the selection committee. You're making your case to the selection committee. The season is your resume to that committee to where they should rank you in the tournament to try to win the national championship. And the AP poll is an expert opinion on what maybe that a reflection of what that ranking could potentially be. So if the AP got a little bit crazy at the end of the day, it really wouldn't affect anything for the college basketball landscape. If this game was at the end of the season, like we're saying, Wisconsin's ranked 11, Michigan's unranked, and Michigan's able to beat Wisconsin, take their number 11 spot, it doesn't matter. The selection committee can come back and go, yeah, Wisconsin's still a 3 seed or a 2 seed, of course. If I'm not mistaken, chat, the selection committee and the AP are not the same thing, right? They're different. It's not the AP selection committee. So I think college basketball should get frisky with it and say the AP poll is going to operate like the UFC, and if an opponent beats a top 25 team, they get their ranking. That would be super fun for these other smaller schools as well. Early season, you get a Dartmouth goes in and upsets some team. Top 10 team could be fun. We see most of the major schools getting upset by the smaller schools, of course, in the tournament. And at that point, the seeding, taking their spot. That kind of happens because you move on to the next round. But for the regular season, should we consider making a change for the college football, college basketball poll? Wemby and the Spurs about to take the court, chat. Oh, exciting times. Castle still in the starting lineup. And Iguodala as well, too, going up against Wemby. It'll be a fun matchup for Iguodala, who is playing well. Making kind of a sneaky... I don't want to say sneaky all-rookie case, because that's what, top 10 rookies? I feel like he might be kind of an easy top 10 rookie. Oh, he wins the tip on Wemby. It's a sloppy tip. But the Suns are able to control the ball. But he might be like a sneaky first-team all-rookie. I mean, you've got Castle, McCain, Connect as an easy 1, 2, 3. And, you know, Richerche has had moments. I guess Sarr is probably not going to be on an all-rookie team. But is Iguodala been a top 5 rookie? Top 5 might be a little rich, just saying that off the top for the guys that we don't remember. But shout out this Michigan team. We're gonna sit down and get familiar with the guys tonight, chat. This is an introduce themselves to us type of game. I know we've got a transfer from, I believe, Auburn. Trey Donaldson is a transfer guard. He's been leading the team in scoring. He's easy to spot with the hairdo. So shout out the smaller second screen. That's always a nice feature. But we like it when the players have heavy mods because it makes them distinguishable when you're watching on, you know, the smaller screens. But Jace Howard's still on the team as well. I think Dusty May bringing in a lot of transfers, though. A lot of new faces on the team. Not really sure what Juwan Howard left him with. And I know, like, Tarek Reed, the center that we had, he transferred out. He seemed like a nice player. We've got this white guy chucking threes early on. What are we doing? The defense has been good, though, chat, to start, except for that one right there. I'll be quiet. Oh, no defense for the Spurs. 7-0. Mitch Johnson calling a timeout to start. The Spurs lead the league in timeouts, earliest timeout in the quarter. I think Spurs have the earliest average timeout in the NBA. And make no mistake, we're not the worst team or anything like that. But, man, we will get off to us. First half and first quarter, third quarter, constant. Mitch Johnson always calling a timeout in the first 90 seconds of both of those quarters. But shout out to Coach Pop. Once again, man, hopefully everything's going okay. I know, you know, every game, you play multiple games a week, you go, oh, every game, it's like, well, will he get back? And the NBA timeline and the recovery timeline can sometimes feel like two different things where, you know, even like with Powell, you get an injury and you go, oh, he's going to be 2 or 3 months recovering from this. Like, oh, that's so long. But in real life also, you go 2 or 3 months, you know, it's not a year. Like, it could be like, you know, Pop, they were saying mild stroke. Like, who knows what the recovery from time is from that. And I forget even how long it's been since he suffered that. Again, we're in December. And I feel like that was early on in the season as well. Should we see how many games he's coached this year, chat? And I don't think he's in a position, you know, this team's not Steve Kerr rushing back to try to win the title. This team is not attacking the championship, to steal a quote from Jakob Pertl. But he has coached. Okay, I guess he's still getting credit for for the games. Shout out, as he should. The greatest coach of all time. Should definitely still be getting. So Basketball Reference is not going to have it listed. Oh, are we in, chat? 3, 2, 1. Are we still here? Sorry, we're having some technical difficulties. Give us a second. Let's get reconnected. Okay. Are we good? Let me Let me check one thing here, chat. Make sure we're still cooking away. Seems like all the technical stuff. IT's working hard, chat. Seems like we sound good. Seems like, you know, we look good, but making sure we're still tapped in. Chat still looks good, so that's a good sign. But just in case there's a mystery reason that the reconnection was not successful, we've got to make sure to check all the boundaries. Double check, chat, right? Triple check. We're like The View, chat, trying to call out Joe Rogan. We're triple checking. We've got to make sure that we have everything covered. Making sure that we're up and running. Oh, look at that, chat. Excellent, excellent. Okay, we are back. And not necessarily better than ever because Wisconsin has pulled out to a lead as well, too. It's 18-14. So, yeah. Could get rough here in the first half for these games. Pause. But what were we saying before we got cut off by the disconnection, chat? Oh, unfortunately, I don't remember. But, anyway, Iguodala swinging the ball, playmaking. You hate to see it for the Spurs. But another sneaky little good move by the Suns. Wembanyama putting up threes right away. He loves shooting threes. JJ Redick called him out for it. He was asked, what was Wemby doing last year that he wasn't doing? What is Wemby doing this year that he wasn't doing last year? And JJ Redick said, jacking up threes, shooting a ton of threes, taking too many threes. Wembanyama, use your size to your advantage and not on the jump shots from 30 feet around the basket. So at least they are guarding with Durant. They're not putting like Tyus Jones. They're not putting Iguodala on him. That's something. So maybe you go, oh, the more intense defender, but guarding him with size. And you see Wemby, the defensive player of the month, affecting that shot right there. You love to see it. Oh, Wisconsin. A 6-0 run in the last minute. They've doubled us up. It's 8-16. Chat, this could be a game where you go, oh, maybe that was a fun start for Michigan. But the thing you know about college basketball is, I mean, like we said, the NBA, it might be after the All-Star break when these teams turn around. Like, it takes 50 games for teams to get into rhythm. College basketball might be the most impressive for how much a team can get better over the course of the season. And make no mistake, Michigan fans are well aware of a team with a slow start and then growing into something special. Pause. And not saying that this team is, you know, a couple of this or that or whatever. Like, does this have the makings of a big... Like, I just don't know, chat. Maybe it does. Maybe Donaldson's a better transfer than you know, we haven't looked him up on the 24/7 Sports to see what that rating was. But if this team continued to, and Dusty May and this roster just continues to get better, I mean, make no mistake, this team could definitely trend upward, be a ranked team by the end of the game, and by the end of the season anyways. And the game that Spurs played the other night went down to the wire against the Kings, and there was some Wemby two-man stuff in the post. Yeah, they're back with it here with Durant. Some Wemby, Chris Paul two-man game. Now Wemby out to Champagnie for three, and they're able to usually get like an open three at the top of the key, or Wemby at the post doing something. He was taking like a fadeaway over Sabonis and got to the rim once as well too. So, you know, it varies on the shot selection, what he's going to go to. But getting him posted up on that right side of the basket seems to be a real offensive thing that they can go to. And a simple thing like that for late in games as well, where you just go, hey, Wemby's our star. Chris Paul is our leader on offense. We know this two-man game is going to be successful. The pull-up three. ISO between the legs. Pull it from the top of the key. The jumper looks smooth, but make no mistake, chat. Get to the rim. And I guess we got the Jones brothers going at it. Tyus versus Trey. We haven't seen them actually match up yet. Hopefully, neither of the teams get confused. Make sure they pay attention to the jerseys. I guess we haven't heard him speak, chat. Do they like sound the same too? I remember way back when I was I guess nothing is way back for us quite yet, chat. But you know, when we were like little kids, there was a set of identical twins that we knew, that our friend group knew. And they even like sounded alike. Like they looked alike and they sounded alike. And even though they were cool and we were cool with them for sure, I mean, make no mistake, I definitely got it mixed up from time to time. It's just what it is, chat. When you got two people that are the same person, you're gonna get the names flipped up. It is what it is. We're not getting political, chat. If you're just tuning in, we're talking about identical twins. Not whatever you think politically we're talking about. But Trey and Tyus Jones in the same game. Wemby with his short little 6-minute run like usual. Zach Collins back in. And Bassey was playing a lot in that Kings game as well too. So I don't know. Maybe Mitch Johnson. I don't know what it is about the Spurs staff. They refused to give Bassey the minutes. I guess it was the fact that he had like 4 fouls in 9 minutes in that game. That's probably why he wasn't able to keep playing. But still, he played good in those 9 minutes outside of the 4 fouls. And Vassell is kind of getting more comfortable in his role as a spot-up shooter right there. He kind of gets that one in a little semi-transition off the dribble. But he was playing a lot more on the ball last year, and it was a lot of pick and roll and a lot of him creating in the mid-range and able to kind of cross over, get to his looks. Okay, he's going to get an ISO here on Grayson Allen. Which, ooh, and it's a good little fadeaway. I mean, it's a tough shot, but it's a good shot. It's it's a swish, chat. No rim needed. Right in the face of Grayson Allen. Devin Booker responds for revenge. At least the Spurs are right back in this. It's only a 5-point game. Back to one score if we get a score here. But when Chris Paul's in the game as well, too. So, like, right now, Castle's in the game as the other guard with Barnes and Johnson and Collins in the front court. So, while Castle could develop into a playmaker for sure, like, his assist numbers can definitely be higher on a box score than you would expect. Vassell, in this lineup specifically without Paul, can kind of get his minutes as a lead creator. But when Paul's in there, obviously he's going to be running the offense. And like we were saying, that two-man game with him and Wemby is looking like that could grow into something that, and it already is, something that is pretty effective. So him playing off of that is just a little bit of an adjustment for him as well, too. Getting used to that role. Because, like, Champagnie does a good job of playing off of that, but Champagnie has kind of done that. And Vassell has, of course, done that at various points of his career. But recently for the Spurs, and, you know, he got a contract extension as well, too. And I think even with the guys that they brought in, like, you would still think, okay, I'm still kind of the lead scorer. Like, I'm still kind of the best offensive player here at the peak of my powers, you know, outside of Wembanyama. But, which is kind of funny. I don't know if that makes you feel better or worse about the Spurs, chat. But that sounds good to me. Again, we're all in on Vassell. I like what we've got with the young players on this team. But Wemby or Chris Paul definitely is going to be a more lead creator. Vassell's going to have to get it off the ball. The double on Wemby. Swing, catch, and shoot type stuff. But Michigan's cut it to 5 as well, too. Okay, good. So it's not going to get out of control. I mean, make no mistake, chat. A crowd of a sea of red like this always makes us a little bit nervous. Hopefully being on the blue side works out for us this time. But Michigan, again, as the underdog, I think a good fight. Are we in the same position, chat? Just a good fight. You just hope to stay in it. But at least we get the dunk on that possession. So there we go. Back to 3. Michigan always down to have a big international 7-footer at some point, at some spot on the roster. You got to have one in rotation for sure. College basketball, it's a game of runs. Pause. It is what it is. But those NBA games were, like we were saying, starting to get a little bit out of hand. Oh, the Hornets! So, I mean, it was inevitable that one of the games would end up, one of the teams would falter. Somebody would get hot and make a comeback. And it looks like it was the Hornets. The Magic are down 30. I think the Bucks, the Bucks game went final, and the Bucks won by 20. But the Sixers are only up by 2 now to the Charlotte Hornets with 24 seconds left. Let's tap in, chat. Let's see what's going on. Oh, and is that Richards getting to the rim? Oh, so the score is updated. If the Sixers were still at 104, that would have tied it, but the Sixers are at 106. They get it in. The Hornets are going to have to foul. It looked like they had a shot at the turnover there. Some chaos for the Sixers getting the ball up the court, but if they get these free throws, we will be good to go. Maxey with a chance to seal the game with 9 seconds left. Wow, was it Micic, chat? Did Micic put this team on his back? It was Brandon Miller, as you would expect. Going up against his idol, he had to show out. 34 points, 12 for 24 from the field, 7 for 15 from 3. Paul George, 29 points, 10 for 16, 6 for 9 from 3. Shout out. 29 and 8 for Paul George. 34, 3 rebounds. So Brandon Miller basically just scoring. But wow, a real battle, chat, of old school, nude school, new school, new school, chat. Old school versus new school. Without the old school, chat, if the old school didn't pave the way, Brandon Miller wouldn't be here today. But Paul George, he's not old school yet. He's still putting up 30 on his end. Still trying to get the win. But Brandon Miller impressing for his mentor. And it's a 4-point game with 9 seconds left here. We'll give the Hornets a chance to make a crazy shot. We will see what happens. What does Charles Lee have up his sleeve down 4 with 9 seconds left? LaMelo Ball. I mean, you can model your game after him on and off the court, chat. Are we going to borrow some of these outfits? Do we need to do a 2024 fashion icon? Write that down, IT. We'll be doing that at the end of the year. I mean, December is going to be, this is going to be a stacked month for end of the year list, chat. You know we've got, I mean, the album list I can't wait for when we do the top 10, it might be a top 20, top 30. Who knows how far we'll go with the list. There's just so many great albums to continue to talk about from the, I mean, at least, you know, we don't want to get too much hyperbole. So many albums that we had fun listening to this year that are going to be fun to talk about. And I think we're going to wait till after that Snoop Dogg Dr. Dre album drops, which, make no mistake, I guess is definitely more of a 2025 album when you're dropping in the middle of December. Like, all of your listens are basically going to be in 2025. If people are still listening at that point. But we're going to give it a chance. I think DMX has a little album dropping as well, too, that day. So after that, maybe that's Sunday. I guess maybe that Tuesday, because Sunday will still be, it'll still be football day, chat. It is what it is. The NFL's king. But maybe that Tuesday, the 17th, put it in your calendars, chat. Top 35 albums of the year. We'll see what happens with the list. No, maybe we'll just blaze through the honorable mentions. Sixers get the win. LaMelo gets some daps from his guys. Okay, let's reset our games here, chat. Let's get this Michigan game back. Let's get this Spurs game back on. We had to kick our own selves off this time to watch the end of that game. Let's get Durant loaded back up on the screen. But yeah, I guess we got albums, we've got moments, we've got sports things, we've got fashion icons, I guess. And shout out to Sohan, he's back. Excited to have him. You can tell when he's back, chat. Shout out the green hair. Okay, this was bound to happen, chat. It is what it is. We knew it because the room was too cold. The room has been overheated. Let me turn down the heater quick. Embarrassing, chat. Okay, we're strapped up. Make no mistake, we were a cold little kid when this first started, chat. We've got layers. We had a heater going, but now it's too toasty warm. So time to balance it back out. Shout out, I guess, purple Thanos vibes. We're going for balance today, chat. But, oh, geez. Apparently, we've lost our good Wi-Fi now. The Wi-Fi we were running before was doing just fine. Or maybe so many people have tapped into the Spurs-Suns game now on League Pass that it's just doing a Netflix and it's going to crash. More people are watching. I mean, this is Group B Emeritus Cup, the last game before the knockout stage. So, I mean, is this for whoever goes to the NBA Cup, chat? This might be. We're running sound off. Should we know the stakes for our own team when it comes to the NBA Cup? Probably, but guess what? We just don't. We don't know what's on the line for the NBA Cup. We know what's on the line for the season. And we know that the Spurs are not probably going to be, like we said, attacking the title this year. But do we have a better shot at the NBA Cup than the NBA title? Yes. So should we be more locked in on that? Probably. That would probably be the move, chat. But shout out. I feel like there's a couple of piercing truth things that were floating around, chat. But also, I feel like some of the stuff that I've seen for piercing truth, again, we might just save for that album stuff. Because, yeah, Sam apparently said that there is no expansion team, so it's just a rebrand in the UFA. Shout out to the Oregon Steel, which is kind of calling our name a little bit, chat. You know, I don't know how familiar you guys are with, you know, Remington, whatever, but there is Remington Steel, the old show. And I think that's where my parents got the name from. So, Remington Steel, Oregon Steel. It's close, chat. It's close. Oh, yeah, there's a fountain in Italy that dispenses wine 24/7. We couldn't find what city this was in. The Dora Sarchis? It's not Sarchis, chat, but I think that's the best we could do from pronunciation. The Dora Sarchis winery in Europe has a 24/7 wine fountain. So I guess you have to be in the winery to get to the fountain. Okay, that makes sense. We should have actually read a little bit more into it before we brought it up here. Because I was going to say, maybe that Europe trip, we need to speed up the timeline a little bit for whatever that day is going to be. From like 2032 to 2025, end of 2025. Do we need to take out a loan to go to Italy to get to the wine fountain? We'll see what happens. We worked with a guy once that told us that that was a good idea. Back at one of the old jobs. This guy was a manager. This guy was one of our bosses. Well, I guess, yeah. Boss, was he a peer, chat? Were we a manager as well? I don't want to brag about the resume, chat, but our trampoline park days might have been our peak. But regardless, there was a guy from the old trampoline park days that told us that taking out a loan was actually the best way to save money. And he just would take out loans to go on trips and buy stuff all the time. I wish I remember his explanation for it. Jeez, do I need to stop in the donut shop that he went on to and see if he's still there? Be like, hey, do you remember what your explanation was for why I should take out a loan all the time? because I'm trying to justify this Europe trip to go over to this wine fountain. The problem is if I go find him and bring it up, he's the type of guy that, like, it's been like 5 years since I've worked with this guy, and if I pop back in and I'm like, hey, why should I take out a loan for this trip? He'd be like, take out a loan. I'll take out the loan for you and plan the trip, and we'll go on the trip together. So maybe it's best that we just go ahead and leave that donut shop alone. But yeah, I guess if it's located in the winery, that would make more sense as to how they're able to keep up with the demand for a 24/7 wine fountain. Because even in like a small Italian town, like what kind of, it wouldn't even be like the self-control to not drink the wine. It would just be the not abusing of the not abuse. Like what kind of state would all these people need to be in to be like, yeah, I still want to go buy the wine? And maybe it's not the best wine as well too. So if you're like in these little Italian wine villages and little towns or whatever out by these wineries, like maybe there's still the types that you're going for that like you have to purchase. Like I'm still, they're not. Does it say what type of wine it is? Exactly. A wine fountain. Oh, it's in Spain. It's not in Italy, chat. My bad. It's in Spain. I guess for some reason I just assumed wine should be Italy or France or something. But yeah, Spain. Shout out. Ooh, if it's in Spain, I might be able to have family connects that could get me over there. But the bodegas. Oh man, chat. I shouldn't even try to pronounce the names. I should just leave it out and not embarrass myself. But it doesn't say what type it dispenses. There's a picture of it, and I mean it's a red wine for sure. The glass is full to the brim, so I mean, make no mistake, these people are greedy. Not the traditional little splash of wine you get in your wine glass. But you know, if you wanted to abuse it at the winery, or if it was outside the winery and you wanted to abuse it, I'm sure they'd have people that would definitely be down to do that. But if it's located in there and it's like you have to be in there and you're probably tasting like you're saying, the better quality stuff already, they've got you doing a whole thing, so you're probably, you know, you could probably get to a decent place before you even need to get to the fountain as well. If you're in a winery, I'm sure it's not hard, chat. I'm sure it's not hard. Make no mistake, in the middle of the Midwest is not necessarily the winery capital of not the winery capital of the USA. And not that I'm like a big wine guy in any type of way, chat, but make no mistake, in the summer, in the spring, I guess even the fall, when it's nice outside, chat, just the winery vibes, going to eat outside at a winery, that type of setting, I mean, that is hard to beat, chat. That is a great time. And there's a couple of, we get like the breweries and stuff that pop up, and not the bars, obviously, but like the people kind of going for that setup. But, we're not going to be doing winery type stuff here. There is a couple of places, but it's like sushi, chat. You just go when you like really, really miss it. You just go to do it because it's all you have. It's like, well, I guess, what am I just never going to ever go get sushi because I'm in the Midwest? No, I'll still go get at least fried rice or something. But but it's like, okay, we get it's better on the coast, and we get it. The wineries are better in Spain, okay? Not in Iowa. Fine. And I know somebody in the chat's going to fiercely defend Iowa wineries. And make no mistake, I'm down to defend the home state. Like, if there's some banger Iowa wineries that I'm just not aware of, slide in the DMs over at REMINGTOM on Instagram. I will make sure in the spring and summer to get back on the dating apps and get out to the wineries. No, chat, we will maybe we'll see what's out there before, like we say, not claim that Iowa is the winery capital of the US. Now, make no mistake, Iowa's got a long ways to go before we claim that belt, but I don't really know what we're working with in total. Hasn't really been my scene for the early part of the 20s. But as we venture on, chat, maybe we'll start moving in that direction. Probably not unless they start implementing these free 24/7 fountains as like a normal thing. But I guess there was also this post of like old, I don't even know what era this would be, chat. This looks like Mad Men era offices. These are like high-rise New York, Chicago offices with big glass windows, but it's like the old school wood desks, leather chairs, big tufts, chat. Big office chair. I mean, like a big leather chair, chat, that you just get lost in. The lamps, the shiny wood finishes on everything. I mean, in the sunset backdrops, chat, I mean, really makes you think that this type of office would be the best, chat, but not even. Like, this era, chat, can't be beat. Like, that's the problem. Like, you guys can subscribe to the, and make no mistake, you guys subscribe to the chat, and we're able to get an office with a shiny wood desk. Like, I mean, we'll be ever grateful for it. But you can't have an 80s office in the 80s anymore, obviously. It's impossible, and that's the problem. Or a 70s office in the or a 50s office. Was this 40s or 50s? When was Mad Men? I feel like we should know this, chat. Make no mistake, we started watching Mad Men. Is that going to make the adults mad that we didn't give the series a finish? But it's not the series for the adults in the chat. It's not the series. The series is obviously one of the best that we've ever seen. But it was just like, hey, let's go ahead and pivot into movies. And just really, I don't know, chat. I'm just more of a movie guy than a TV show guy. It is what it is. At least at this point. Maybe when I become older, I'll move into the TV shows, and Mad Men will really strike home then. And make no mistake, again, Mad Men's great. John Hamm? I mean, chat, we were talking about that actor Mount Rushmore. John Hamm might be in it. Next to Denzel, Ryan Gosling, and who was the other one, chat? I can't believe I'm forgetting my own Mount Rushmore. But I guess we know for a fact that Denzel and Ryan Gosling are the top two. Tupac? Was it Tupac? Maybe Tupac is battling John Hamm for that last spot. Who did I say that third person was? That's unfortunate that they're being forgotten right now. But was it Jamie Lee Curtis? But the 50s. Okay, yeah. Oh, I guess the term, according to the pilot episode, the term Mad Men was coined in the 50s. As the series progresses, it depicts changing moods and social mores of the United States throughout the 60s and like 50s, 60s, and 70s. Yeah, like so that whole era. The golden era of marketing, chat. The golden era of business and high-rise offices. And make no mistake, we're not ignorant to American history and whatever. Like, we get it. As time goes on, hopefully each era actually becomes the better one to live in. But we get what we're saying. Like, that if we could just have that 80s vibe with more modern equipment, some more modern vibes in other places. But, if we were just able to have like a more diverse 80s, 50s, and 60s office. But just that vibe that business was in that high-rise office. I mean, the office vibe is just not the same anymore, chat. Nobody likes working in an office. What is wrong with an office? I was just talking to my mom about this because she has an office job where she can work remote from home like a day of the week, or I don't know how, just like, I guess I don't know how it works totally, but she has a remote option with the job. And it's like, yeah, she's like, yeah, that's obviously much better. Like, why would I not want to work from home? And it's like, well, why would you not want to go from the office? And maybe that's, a gender thing, chat, for all the genders out there. But, just because there's more genders doesn't mean male stereotypes still don't exist. So maybe it's a male stereotype that, again, still being inclusive of all the other ones out there. But maybe it's a stereotype like that we still like going to the office. But even still, like, guys are working from home now. I don't know. I still would miss and it's not even, I've never even been in an office, so I don't even miss it. But maybe it's a past life we were in an office, chat, so we just miss it from the past life. But I don't know. There's something in us. You know, if our version of reincarnated was the 40s version of us was in an office. I don't know. Uh, but bring office culture back. Bring high-rise office culture. Bring cocaine in offices back, chat. No. But bring wooden desks back. Leather chairs, maybe. I don't know. It's pretty sunsets. Is climate change ruining the sunset? I don't know. The sunset, I think, still pretty banger from time to time for sure. But 90 seconds left in the first half. Michigan down 7 to Wisconsin. Not bad. We'll take it. What was the spread for this game? Let's see. Let me double check here. Are we covering, chat? That's what's important. 7.5. We are. So we're still in range. We're right where we should be. Oh, and a foul. Offensive foul, chat. A turnover for the Wolverines. Getting him off the push-off. That off-arm, chat. You can't extend it too much. They'll get you. Shout out, though, chat. Like I'm saying, I want to focus on the game. The game. We get to watch our boys. This will be the part of the stream where we just don't say anything, chat, while we have to watch Michigan play. Oh, maybe not. They just got swatted in transition pretty bad. Yikes. Time to look away. Oh, and the Spurs down 12, chat. It's getting ugly. These games are falling apart quickly. Castle as a starter this year, 14 points, 4.5 rebounds. Wow, legit starter numbers from Castle as a rookie, as a starter this early in the season. Budenholzer challenging something. Yeah, Budenholzer's going to challenge it. Miss Johnson better challenge the refs by arguing anyways. Give him a couple looks. Head shakes, very important. And it's good that if the coach is not, like, Johnson's good because he's not, like, ever gotten, like, super crazy livid, but, you know, he'll work the refs. He'll show his disapproval with the call, which is really what you need to do. You just, like, approve, disapprove. It's not get livid and spit in their face. I mean, COVID, chat. 6 feet. You got to do it. Are these refs still getting boosted? Refs should be the one set of people still get. If it's like who should be still getting boosted, like old people and referees, because make no mistake, chat. They get about as much spit in the face as a hey, chat. I think we've made it this far. Yo, chat. Yo. It's getting out of hand. Things are getting crazy when Sam is in here. We love it, chat. Vassell and the Vassell Castle haircut. I think that's our favorite haircut right now. I think that's past the... What was it for a while? I guess we haven't been keeping an update on our favorite sports haircut. But obviously that Odell haircut for a while was probably the number one. But the braids, is it the braids? The braids on the side with the bun on the top. Iconic, chat. You gotta love it. 2024, is that the most iconic thing we have to offer so far? Is that hairstyle? It might be. Because make no mistake, I don't know if we want to start doing year-end review stuff now, but no, I'll save this take for later, chat. And it's a take that I think we've already talked about, but make no mistake, nothing has really happened to change it this year, but it's an interesting time right now for the culture, chat, just in terms of obviously, you know, in terms of what is being produced, but just the legacy of all this stuff that's coming out right now. It's just it's interesting times, and obviously some of it's in a good spot. Like music, I think, in a great spot, especially with the way that this year has played out. But you know, looking around at some of these other industries, chat, and even with music, it's just interesting to look at. So, and no, I think I take that back. Music is still chugging along pretty good, but where are movies at right now, chat? Where is TV at right now? I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about it as the month rolls along and as 2024 comes to a close. But free throws here with Michigan. 43 seconds left in the half. A chance to cut it to 5 as we stay in that covering range. So 6.5 minutes left in the second quarter. Wembanyama better be headed to the scores table, Mitch Johnson. What's going on here? Why is Zach Collins still in the game? Dead ball? I mean, this is perfect. Why is Zach Collins not heading to the sideline? Is Wemby in foul trouble? No Wemby at the scores table. I mean, what, you're going to bring him back in 60 more seconds? Just do it now. Pause. Down 10. I mean, Beal's trying to shake Zach Collins as we speak. He's cooking him. He's working him. And he gets the foul. So, I mean, Zach Collins has to be in foul trouble now. There's no way that's his first. His head's down, chat. Hopefully that means he knows he's about to be subbed out. Or, you know, play next to Wembanyama. Beal, 18 points a game on 40% from 3. Beal, is he playing well? Bradley Beal? I don't know if the defense is fully there for, you know, what this Suns team might need to make a run. But if the offense is starting to click, that's there. And, you know, Coach Bud, he'll coach you some offense. Frank Vogel, I think the thought was, you know, we have all these offensive superstars with Durant and Beal and Booker, and they're going to figure out how to make that work by themselves, and we'll bring Vogel in to coach up the defense. But maybe, you know, if your players are not going to adapt, you have to coach their strengths, chat? Is that what it is? And it's funny that the NBA works that way, chat, because I feel like the NFL is the opposite, where you bring in a coach, and it's like, okay, we've got to model stuff to what you got to do. And obviously the good coaches would say that, like, you know, you got to be able to fit your talent. But, you know, you get these guys that, like, want to run these systems. And now the NBA, it's, does the coach match with the talent that we have on the court? And I think Budenholzer kind of leans in more to the strengths of what the Suns are able to do. But Vassell cuts it to 9. Here we go. So they are able to make a little bit of a dent into the lead without Wembanyama. But we still need him out there. And the Suns now have most of their starters back, but they have Ryan Dunn in for Beal. Oh, Dunn fumbles it in the corner. Oh, and a bad shot on the hook. The shot clock violation, doesn't even get the rim. But at least, you know, if Beal's not going to give you the defense, you can at least bring Dunn in for the defense because he's been pretty fantastic in that spot. I mean, the Phoenix Suns might very well have two. They might be second team all rookie, both of them, just for the roles that they played on this team. And obviously the Suns being, you know, near the top of the Western Conference for the first 20 games, the 1 or the 2 seed for some of it, is an argument to why, you know, their success as a rookies has been more important. But still, they played well. It's part of the reason that the team is doing good. It's all part of it, chat. It's all in the formula. Yeah, Spurs bench outscoring Phoenix right now, 19-6. Definitely a big reason is why they're in. And it's Vassell cooking Iguodala. Oh, not able to get the shot off over him. Good defense. Stayed in front and contested as well. But Vassell going one-on-one. Vassell getting buckets has kind of been the best part of the offense tonight. Oh, and swinging to Johnson for 3. He's had some good games, but you'd like to see that consistency. I feel like his percentage has been good this year, but again, I feel like it's been one game he'll be 6 for 9. The next game, he's 3 for 8. 2 for 8. Let's see. Is he, I don't know if he's 40%, but is he 38? Is he above 38? That'd be good for Keldon Johnson. Oh, chat, he sucks from 3 this year. He's been terrible. He is 30.3%. But like in the last 5, yeah, he was 6 for 12 against OKC. And then 0 for 3, 1 for 5, 0 for 1, and then 3 for 4. So I guess Unfortunately, we're not good at math, chat. But I guess 10 and 12 and 3, so 25. I mean, he was 10 for 25, chat. He's 10 for 25 in the last 5 games. Should I know what percentage that is? So, yeah, he is 40% from 3 in his last 5. But, again, he's got 2 games where he hasn't made... He had a stretch where he was 1 for 8. And then 2 games where he's 9 for 16. So, hopefully that is more reflective on the season. Of just the 40% part than the 30% for the rest of the year. But, like we're saying, definitely streaky for our guy Keldon Johnson. Sohan continuing to work off the bench as well. And Wemby, there must be foul trouble with Wemby. That's all it could be, right? Mitch Johnson's not teaching him a lesson. Mitch Johnson's not possibly sitting him on the bench. So Michigan goes down into the half by 6 points on the road to Wisconsin. But let's see here. How many fouls does Wemby have so far? 0 fouls. Oh, he's 0 for... Yeah, he's 0 for 6 from the field, 0 for 5 from 3. I totally agree. Put him on the bench. Keep Zach Collins in. We love you, Zach Collins. Keep playing, buddy. You're doing a great job. Wemby, bro, what are you doing? And I get you're trying to find your stroke. Pause, but that's crazy. 0 for 5 in the first half, brother. Get to the rim. Castle 0 for 2. Barnes is 1 for 5. So, yeah, it's a team 39% to 51% from Phoenix. I don't really know how we're only down 5, to be honest. Somehow we're doing it. Vassell has 12. He's 5 for 7. He's been, again, the one good thing offensively tonight. Johnson 0 for 1 from 3. So maybe the next one will go in. If the next one goes in, it's going to be a good night. Based on the form of that first 3, though, I don't think it's going to be a good night, unfortunately. So 3 minutes left. It can't get out of hand. We're not seeing Bassey in there for Collins either. Sohan just got cooked by Tyus Jones. Pump faked him out of his shoes. But, oh, and Castle on the air ball. Maybe he hustled and just got it back. Whoa, Castle with the incredible hustle play. I mean, that is the type of stuff that gets excited, chat. Because even if he airballs a 3, he's going after it. He's hustling. He's trying to make up for his mistakes. He's a rookie, and he's going to make mistakes. But can you correct him? How do you play afterwards? Oh, yeah, he didn't get I thought he was able to get that. It was a good effort, though, by Castle. He tried. He knew it was an air ball. That's really what it says. Grayson Allen getting into the rim. Back up by 10. Wemby right to the scorer's table. So he may have been trying to prove a point, but with 2.5 minutes left, he's like, we got to do something. Johnson gets it to go. Will Wemby go back to the bench? As long as it's within double digits, it's like, let's keep Wemby in. But Chris Paul has been out too, so, man, really cutting it close in this quarter. They're going to be out there for the last 60 seconds, if that. O'Neal swings it to Tyus Jones. Is he feeling it right now? He is. Do we take a timeout? What are we dealing with timeouts? An intentional foul just to get Wemby back out there? Is it worth it? They should have subbed him out on that dead ball after the air ball. The Castle air ball would have been a great... I mean, he did it on purpose to get Wemby back in. We were calling for something. So he said, let me just check this out of bounds real quick. And now Grayson Allen. So, I mean, they're just attacking the rim over and over again without Wembanyama there. Zach Collins. I won't say anymore because he is a real human being. And this is real life at the end of the day. But in real life, they are getting to the rim over and over again. Pause. Layup after layup. That Tyus Jones 3 obviously wasn't a layup. But the collapse on defense because of the layups that have been happening is all a part of that. Transition, getting to the rim. So here we go. Free throws for Sohan. Wemby and Chris Paul are going to have a minute 15. They're going to have about 2 possessions here as Sohan bricks a one-handed free throw. And the problem is when he misses the one-handed free throws, it looks like he's not trying. But it's actually the complete opposite. The one-handed free throw is him trying to... Is he trying too hard, chat? I mean, he definitely is trying too hard, for sure. He's Sohan. But we love him for it. You love a try hard when he's on your own team. But it's like, does he even care? Oh, he missed them both. Does he even care? Put the guide hand up there, Sohan. You're a pro. You're an adult. Shoot it like an adult. Pause. Shoot it like an adult is crazy. My bad, chat. I mean, they've got Plumlee in there now. Okay, they put Wemby in. That's why. You got to match size for size. Oh, Allen in the corner for 3. I mean, the defense, the perimeter defense all around just gets better because you know that you have that guide back there. They stifle the three-point attempt by the Phoenix Suns. Chris Paul takes a 3. He could have cut it to 10 points there, and then maybe they get it back. Maybe they cut it to 8 or 7. But unfortunately, it's now just get a stop. Don't let it get too bad. Booker, he's staring him down, chat. It's not good. He drives and kicks. Allen into the corner for Jones for 3. And the Spurs get a stop. 7 seconds left. Vassell, can he bail us out again? Wemby running the court. Oh, he takes another 3. And he misses again. He misses again. He's 0 for 6 from 3 in the first half. The jersey is being untucked. That's never a good sign. You never want your own team, guys, to be doing the jersey untuck at the end of the half. Disastrous stuff in the first half of the knockout game for the knockout stage of Western Conference Group B in the Western Conference NBA Emeritus Cup knockout game. But there's still a second half in Wembanyama. Maybe he'll get fire from the poor performance and something good will happen. I don't know, chat. We will go see. Michigan versus Wisconsin is about to start up as well, too. So we will go watch that. We said shoot it like an adult a couple minutes ago. So I think it's time for us to go. That is that is the note that we have to end it on because things are getting too wild without Sam here. So I don't know, chat. We're going to have to try to talk Sam into being back on Friday because... yeah, things are getting a little bit too crazy. But we'll be here Friday. We'll be here Sunday. You guys know it. Stay subscribed. The Rem and Sam pod is always live on the scene. I don't know with college football if we're going to have a potential, what the Friday slate is, if there's an 8 overtime game potential for that day as well. But you never know, chat. So when the Rem and Sam pod is live, you never know. Tap in. And we will keep you guys tuned in. We're having fun watching sports on nights like this, chat. So subscribe to stay tuned, like we were saying. Rem and Sam on YouTube. We're on the social platforms. We're just on the internet, chat, at Rem and Sam Podcast. If there's a page out there that says Rem and Sam on it, just follow it. It's probably us. We're on IMDb now, chat. Follow us on IMDb. Put us on your watch list because you can watch us. You can watch us on Spotify too. Shout out. Shout out to those that got the old Rem and Sam and the Spotify Wrapped, which drops tomorrow. We're excited. Do we just go to bed now so we can wake up to it? We might, chat. We can't wait. We'll see if Kendrick... I mean, I feel like it's not a question if Kendrick is in the... I feel like Kendrick is definitely our number one. We won't spoil it. We'll react to it. Stay tuned to the Instagram. Maybe we'll put up some reactions to that over there tomorrow. But, I mean, Kendrick's probably our number one this year. It is what it is. It was the year of Kendrick. But how high will Drake be on the list? That is the part that is curious for us. Because make no mistake, the amount that we were like queuing up Drake. I mean, we were still playing Drake all the there's still so much Drake songs to listen to. But, I mean, it definitely slowed down a little bit. But he was like our number one the last 2 years, and it's like it is what it is. We're not even listening to Drake that much, but there's so much Drake that the man's unavoidable, but still we're not skipping the songs, they're getting the plays, so he still manages to be the number one. But if he's like the number two, I mean, if he's the number one this year, chat, then Drake might actually be the GOAT. If Drake is still the number one artist, and it's like he's inevitable, it's everywhere, he cannot be denied. But I think he might be dethroned on the Wrapped this year by our man Kendrick. But stay tuned. We'll be reacting to it next time we are on. We'll be on the Instagram, like we said, maybe throw a couple things up there. But I think that will do it for tonight. So thank you guys so much for jumping on. We will be back Friday, watching hoops, talking football, making picks, talking Spotify. It'll be a great time, chat. So stay tuned. Have a good night, everybody.